Did you know your bones literally break themselves down and rebuild every 7 to 10 years? That means the skeleton you're walking around with right now is not the same one you had a decade ago. Your own body destroys and recreates itself on a schedule, and not once does it ask for your permission. You don't feel it, you don't notice it, but it happens anyway. Quietly, relentlessly, invisibly. And yet you beat yourself up because you feel off lately. Like you're not yourself. Like things that used to excite you don't hit anymore. Like you're not growing fast enough, or visibly enough, or correctly. But maybe what you're calling stuck is actually the part where your old self is crumbling to make room for a stronger one. Maybe your burnout isn't a failure. It's your body begging for a new blueprint. Maybe your disinterest in the things you used to chase isn't depression, it's wisdom. Maybe your loneliness isn't a punishment. It's protection from the noise you're finally outgrowing. Growth isn't always a glow up. Sometimes it's erosion. Quiet, sacred, necessary erosion. The breakdown before the rebuild. The part where the bones go soft so they can take new shape. So if you're in the middle of something messy, something you can't explain, something that feels like everything is shifting under your feet and you can't find steady ground, good. That means you're not frozen. You're forming. And even if you can't see it yet, the next version of you is already on its way. Chapter 2. Growth looks nothing like you think. You think growth feels like clarity and confidence? Nah. Sometimes it feels like rage. Like suddenly not being able to tolerate the things you used to smile through. Like being allergic to small talk and fake vibes. Like canceling plans you used to force yourself to go to, and then spending the whole night wondering if you're becoming a hermit or just finally healing. Growth doesn't always feel empowering. Sometimes it feels like being lost in a grocery store, standing in front of the peanut butter, having an existential crisis about smooth or crunchy while your old people pleaser self flatlines inside you. Sometimes it feels like laughing at a joke and realizing mid-laugh, wait, I actually don't think that's funny anymore. Or walking out of a conversation and needing a full hour to come down because your body is not okay with pretending anymore. You thought growth would be a vibe, a season, a soft morning with oat milk lattes and sunshine on your journal, but sometimes it's snapping at someone you love and then crying in the shower because you don't know why you're so angry all the time. Or feeling nothing at all and wondering if your heart's turned off. Or having random days where your skin doesn't feel like it fits. No one tells you this. Real growth is disorienting. You don't get a memo when you've outgrown people. You just get drained around them. You don't get a clear sign when something you wanted for years finally arrives, but doesn't fulfill you. You just get this hollow thud in your chest like, this is it? You think you're broken, but maybe you're just finally waking up to what doesn't serve you anymore. And your system doesn't know how to process the peace you prayed for. So if everything feels weird, off, too quiet, too much, too dull, good. That's not you falling apart. That's you not fitting into who you used to be. You're not behind, you're just becoming. Chapter 3, the comparison trap. You ever scroll past someone's life on Instagram and suddenly feel like your whole existence is a bad trailer for a movie no one wants to see? Like 1 second you were just laying in bed minding your business, and the next you're spiraling because someone from your high school is now engaged, owns a cabin, runs a six-figure business, has abs, a golden retriever, a morning routine, and somehow looks good in hats. And meanwhile, you're sitting there with your unbrushed hair, trying to remember if you drank water today or just had iced coffee and anxiety. Yeah, that's not just you. That's the trap, the comparison trap. And it's brutal because deep down you know it's not real. But your brain still reacts like it is. Like someone else's highlight reel means something about your behind the scenes. But here's the truth, no one tells you loud enough. Growth doesn't look good online. The kind of growth that actually matters, the kind that changes your soul and your nervous system and your relationships, it's unfiltered. It's invisible. It's quiet. It looks like taking responsibility for your triggers, like realizing you're not entitled to someone's love just because you gave them yours, like finally being honest with yourself about the habits that are killing your energy, like staring at your ceiling with a lump in your throat and still choosing not to text the person who hurt you. You don't get applause for that. You don't get comments and likes. You just get your power back. Slowly, unevenly, one uncomfortable moment at a time. But the problem is, We've been trained to measure worth by milestones, career titles, apartment tours, glow-ups, relationship statuses, followers, income, the whole algorithmic checklist. And when your growth doesn't come with proof, you start to feel like it doesn't count, like you're behind, like everyone else is unlocking the next level of life and you're stuck in the tutorial. But that's a lie, a big, shiny, well-lit, beautifully edited lie. Because the people who are actually doing the work, they're not posting about it. They're surviving it. They're in therapy. They're crying on the floor of their shower. They're waking up every day and choosing not to give up, even though nothing looks different yet. You don't see their growth because it's not loud, it's not aesthetic, it's internal. And so is yours. But comparison is loud. It's always screaming, telling you that your pace is wrong, that your journey is off track, that you're late. But let me ask you this, late for what? Who set this timeline? Who decided that by 25 or 30 or 40 or whatever, you're supposed to have everything figured out and perfectly filtered? You think the universe is checking your age before it hands you your breakthrough? You think your healing is invalid because it doesn't come with a promotion or a partner or a six-pack? You think your pace is slow because your timeline doesn't look like someone else's? That's not slowness. That's customization. Your story is not a mass-produced product. It doesn't follow a launch date. You are not too late. You are exactly on time for the life that actually fits you, and not the one you've been pretending to want just to feel caught up. So yeah, maybe you don't have a perfect morning routine. Maybe your goals are blurry. Maybe your biggest win this week was getting out of bed or not ghosting your friend back. That counts. That matters. That's real. You are not falling behind. You're just not faking it. And in a world obsessed with image, that's not failure. That's rebellion. You're not supposed to bloom at the same time as everyone else. You're supposed to bloom when it's real. And real takes time. Chapter 4, the emotional numbness lie. You ever hit that point where you don't feel sad or happy or even anxious anymore? You just feel blank? Like your emotions have gone on airplane mode and no one left you the password? You're not crying, but you're not living either. You're just existing, floating, scrolling, replying with, haha, that's crazy to conversations you mentally checked out of 20 minutes ago. You call it numb. I call it in between. That empty feeling you're afraid of, that's not you breaking, it's you buffering. That's your system going silent while it rewires. Because maybe for the first time in years, you're not chasing drama. You're not addicted to chaos. You're not running on panic and people-pleasing and caffeine and fear. So of course, you feel weird. You've lived your entire life like a fire drill. Every room you've ever entered, you've scanned for exits. Every friendship, you've tiptoed around rejection. Every day, your brain's been playing defense, and now it's quiet. No alarms, no enemies, just stillness. And your nervous system is sitting there like, hello, what do I do now? You think you're stuck, but maybe you're just not in survival mode anymore. Maybe that silence you hate is peace that doesn't feel safe yet. Maybe your body finally has a break from the screaming, but it doesn't trust the quiet, so it panics in its own stillness. That's not numb. That's healing. It just feels boring because your trauma trained you to find safety in movement, even if that movement was destroying you. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not weak for not being inspired right now. You're tired, on a soul level. And you need rest, not the kind where you sleep and wake up still drained. The kind where you stop performing, where you stop trying to feel something all the time just to prove to yourself that you're alive. Emotions don't disappear during growth. They hide. They take naps. They come back in new forms. And sometimes they go quiet so you can actually hear the truth underneath. And the truth is, you're allowed to be in a season where nothing is blooming yet, where you don't feel magical, where you're not manifesting or healing or glowing. You're just here. And that's not nothing. That's not failure. That's rebooting. And yeah, it's boring. It's uncomfortable. It's definitely not Instagrammable. But it's sacred. Because if you can sit in the nothing without numbing yourself, without chasing the next distraction, without pretending to be okay just to avoid feeling weird, you're not numb. You're powerful. You're grounded. You're making peace with stillness. And that right there is a level of growth most people never reach. Chapter 5, the grocery store meltdown. I once had a full-blown breakdown in the middle of a grocery store because they were out of my favorite cereal. That was it. No real crisis, no tragic news, no warning, just an empty shelf and me standing there like a malfunctioning human robot, trying not to cry in front of the frosted mini wheats. And if you've never had a silent mental collapse in aisle 7 of a Target or a Walmart or a Kroger or wherever shame lives, congratulations, you're emotionally stable, and I'm very happy for you. But if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not about the cereal. It's never about the cereal. It's about the thousand invisible things you've been carrying finally crashing at the dumbest possible moment. It's about pretending you're fine for so long that your body picks a completely random Tuesday to say, nope, we're done. It's about trying to hold your life together with sarcasm and caffeine and pretending you don't care until you're staring at an empty shelf and realize you are the empty shelf. And I know it sounds dramatic, but that moment broke something open in me because it was the first time I realized that growth doesn't always look like strength. Sometimes it looks like breaking down over cereal and letting yourself, not powering through, not pushing it down, not fake smiling and saying, I'm just tired. Real growth was letting that version of me crack because that version of me was built to survive, not thrive. That version was polite. She said yes when she wanted to scream. She kept the peace while her own heart was on fire. She laughed at jokes that made her soul shrink. She called it loyalty when it was really self-abandonment. And that girl had served her purpose. She got me through some dark-ish tea, but she couldn't take me any further. So yeah, I cried in public over cereal. But that wasn't a breakdown. That was a breakthrough. That was the moment I stopped shaming myself for not being strong and started honoring the part of me that was exhausted from pretending. And I'm telling you this because you might be there right now. You might be holding it all together with duct tape and dry shampoo and I'm fine on loop. You might feel like one wrong look, one canceled plan, one dumb inconvenience could tip you over the edge. And if that happens, if you find yourself crying in the car or zoning out in a meeting or staring at your phone like it personally betrayed you, breathe. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you're just full and your body is doing the only thing it knows how to do when you won't give it permission to fall apart in private. It makes you fall apart in public. Not to embarrass you, but to free you. So let it. Let the shelf break. Let the tears come. Let that old version of you shatter. Because I promise, underneath all that pretending, all that perfection, all that armor, you're becoming someone softer, stronger, and finally real. Chapter 6, signs you missed because they weren't loud. You keep waiting for some giant sign that you're growing, some cosmic green light, some spiritual thumbs up, some stranger in a coffee shop to walk up and say, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know your self-awareness is incredible and your healing journey is really inspiring. Yeah, no, that's not how this works. The real signs, they're quiet. They don't clap. They don't sparkle. They show up in moments so small, you didn't even know to celebrate them. Like when someone triggers you and you don't spiral, you just breathe. Like when you catch yourself mid-overthinking and gently say, not today. Like when you hear that voice in your head say you're not good enough and for the first time, you don't believe it. Or when you text someone back the next day without apologizing for being a human being with a life and boundaries and a need for rest. That's growth. That's evolution. That's sacred. But because it doesn't look like fireworks, you call it nothing. You ignore it. You forget that the most powerful shifts happen without an audience. Like when you stop reaching out to people who drain you and they don't even notice, but you feel lighter. Like when you finally say no and don't write a paragraph of excuses after. Like when you make a decision that disappoints everyone but keeps you at peace. No one cheers for that, but it matters. You've become someone who listens before reacting, who pauses instead of proving, who notices the red flags and doesn't tie a cape around them anymore. You've outgrown certain conversations, certain coping mechanisms, certain identities you clung to because they made you feel safe. And you did it without screaming about it online. You did it without making it your whole personality. You just grew quietly, reluctantly, courageously, in the cracks, in the silence, in the middle of Tuesday afternoon breakdowns and Sunday night loneliness. And I know it doesn't feel like enough because no one gave you a certificate. No one posted your progress. No one saw you gently choosing yourself in the moments where you used to fall apart. But I see it. And somewhere deep down, you do too. You're not who you were. And maybe you're not yet who you want to be. But that in-between version, the one still stumbling, still doubting, still showing up anyway, that version is magic. That version is becoming. That version is proof that you've been growing this whole damn time. You just weren't loud about it. Chapter 7, The Real Reason You're Still Here. You ever stop and think about how many times you almost gave up? Like not just said it dramatically in the group chat, but really almost quit? Gave up on yourself, on healing, on trying, on people, on the point of waking up and doing it all over again. But you didn't. You didn't, and that means something. It means you're not weak. It means you have a spine made of something most people will never understand. It means there's a part of you, maybe buried, maybe bruised, maybe barely whispering, that refuses to die. And no one claps for that. No one gives you a trophy for surviving another mental spiral or dragging your body out of bed when your soul feels like it weighs 300 pounds. But that part of you, the one that still shows up even when you have no idea why, that's your fire. That's your soul saying, I'm not done yet. And I know some days you don't feel like anything is working. I know some days you think, if this is growth, why does it hurt so much? But you're still here, with your scars, with your doubts, with your rage and your softness and your terrifying self-awareness. And that matters. You being here matters, because you weren't supposed to make it this far. Not with everything you've been through, not with the way life tried to break you before you even had language for pain. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still loving, still trying to figure it out, even if your version of trying is just not quitting today. And that's enough. That's enough. You don't need to have it all together. You don't need to be in your healed era. You don't need to be thriving or rising or posting aesthetic reels of your progress. You just need to keep going. Not for them, not for a finish line, not to prove anything, but because something inside you is still betting on a version of your life that you haven't seen yet. And if that fire is still in there, even if it's small, even if it flickers, even if it's just a damn spark, you are not done. You are not failing. You are not falling behind. You are becoming. And that's the real reason you're still here. Because somewhere, deep inside all the numbness and noise, you know this isn't the end. It's just a pause, a plot twist, a sacred stretch of road before the story takes off. So hold on. Keep breathing. Keep moving forward. Because your future self is already so damn proud you didn't give up here. You're not behind. You're just carrying things no one can see. And you're still moving, still trying, still here. That's not weakness. That's a miracle. So if no one's told you lately, I will. I'm proud of you. Not because you're crushing it. Not because you figured it all out. I'm proud of you because you didn't quit on yourself, even when no one would have blamed you if you did. And if you've made it this far in the video, that means one thing. You were never lost. Just becoming someone no one's ever seen before, including you. So take one deep breath, let the past fall off your shoulders, and walk forward like the future's already waiting for you, because it is.